There's power in reflection, a look back at your favorites and my favorite episodes from the past year. Hi, everyone. It's Natalie. Before I get started today, I want to tell you about my online blog and newsletter. I work hard behind the scenes to bring you tips and stories that I hope encourage you, maybe give you some ideas and educate you. In addition to being here on the podcast every week, I also post online at natalietysdal.com, and I put together extra tips in a weekly newsletter, which you can sign up for either online or I've put a link in today's show notes. I'm nearing 100 episodes of this podcast, which is just crazy to me. This is episode 92. And exactly 1 year ago, my podcast producer, Simona, and I put together two special episodes that were a compilation of tips and quotes from 2021. Well, something about rounding up the best of the best makes me really happy. By the way, I think you'll enjoy going back and listening to those episodes. And we're going to link them here in the show notes for you. They were episodes 39 and 40. But this year, I'm going to do it just a little bit differently. I'm giving you a quick look back with some tips from our top episodes of 2022, the most downloads in 2022. And I'll be counting them down today. Talk about jam-packed. So many takeaways in this episode today. So be sure you listen until the very end. Also, I want you to be the first to know I'm making some changes to the podcast and to my website starting next year. When I started this venture back in 2021, I had just left the news business where I saw the most growth from viewers and listeners. That was in the areas of health and parenting. I specialized in that as a reporter, and I have a heart for helping. I've always felt like God led me to the news industry to bring out these stories, to make people aware of ways to lead a healthier life and ways to help our families. I've interviewed thousands and thousands of experts. I love learning and growing, and I know that you do too, which is why you are here listening today. So about those changes coming, you will learn more about those in the new year, how I'm changing the focus of the podcast, not completely, but I think you're going to like what's happening. I am so excited about it. So stay tuned for that. So in my first episode of the year, episode 41, I talked about setting goals. I think this is important as we head into a new year. So many people make New Year's resolutions that last what? Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. That's why gyms offer specials the first of the year. And then so many people end up paying for that membership that they're not using. I've been there. Maybe you've been there. I've learned how to reframe this over the years so I can actually follow through on what I said I would do and set goals. Consider this reframe. And this is what I talked about in the first episode of 2021. Set goals instead of resolutions. Goals help you become happier, healthier, more excited about your life every single day. There's something that we want to achieve versus some rule that we've set for ourselves in a resolution. I also have a free vision board planning guide from that episode that I think you're going to enjoy, and you will find that link in the show notes today. By the way, I also talk about forming habits and getting the whole family involved. So I think you're going to enjoy that. Okay, on to our favorites and the top 10 episodes of 2022. Number 10, Finding Your Inner Truth Amongst Adversity with Rachel Macy Stafford. This episode pulled at my heartstrings. Rachel and I have become very fast friends. Her realness, her tender words, her talent for the written word. We talked about finding your inner truth, showing up authentically in life's hardest moments. Rachel told a very simple story about being honest when it comes to what you want. Things as simple as dinner. What do you want for dinner when your family's arguing about dinner? I mean, come on. How many of us cave and do whatever keeps the peace? I know I do. But in the end, are we being true to ourselves and teaching our kids to be true to themselves if we aren't saying how we really feel about things? It doesn't mean people have to always agree. It means that we have to learn to be authentic and also to have kindness towards ourselves, in addition to being in my top 10. This is probably one of my favorite episodes. We all need to learn to hold on to what matters and find meaning in our life. My takeaway here, start living. Start stating your real feelings and have grace and love for yourself, which will help you do so for others. This was episode 89. The link is in the show notes. All right, number 9 in the countdown, why it's important for kids to have a sense of control. This with Dr. William Stixrud. Why do we feel the need to control things as parents? Well, I have 3 kids. One who's a teenager. And I am sure that you can relate to me when it comes to kids needing to feel a sense of control at any age, the teenage years, the toddler years, you know what I'm talking about. It can drive us crazy. But what I learned in this episode is that kids, they need to feel like they have a sense of control, and we need to let them feel some of that. If we're not giving them some sense of control, then they are not gaining confidence and learning to do things for themselves. Also, and remember this, what we want for our kids is to be motivated by themselves, not motivated by us in punishment. Part of that is letting them fail, letting them learn for themselves. And that was my greatest takeaway from this episode, not fixing and giving kids control a little bit more often so they can gain that confidence they need to be motivated and to step up in life, to actually be motivated to do their homework, to clean their rooms, to finish what's on their plate. I know you know what I'm talking about. I loved this episode. It's number 56 if you want to go back and listen to the whole conversation. On to number 8 in our countdown, another health topic. I love it that the top 10 here has a really nice mix of health topics and helping you in your relationships. This episode is a biggie. We are all touched by someone who has or maybe had cancer. Maybe it's even you. In episode 55, Dr. Leigh Erin Connealy talks about preventing cancer. I know, huge topic. I learned so much. It's one thing to work out, to try to be healthy, to eat what's good, but does all of that really matter? Does anything really matter? Or are we just predestined? Dr. Connealy runs the Cancer Center for Healing and Center for New Medicine. Dr. Connealy has discovered that many factors do contribute to the disease process. Therefore, many modalities must be used to reverse it. She is amazing and had so many great ideas. Factors we need to be aware of: sleep. You can't live without it. Most of us are not getting enough sleep. Prioritize your sleep. My biggest takeaway here, no matter what, it's when our bodies repair themselves. I spent so many years depriving myself as a morning news anchor with 4 or 5 hours sleep and broken sleep, getting up in the middle of the night. And I felt it. I feel like I'm still paying for that. But the most important thing is I've made the change and I now prioritize my sleep. She also says you have to advocate for yourself. Listen to your body. Don't take the first answer you get when you see a practitioner that you don't agree with. Something else she talks about: drink more water. I'm so guilty of just being so busy that I forget, but we can't do that. We have to be sure that we're drinking enough water and make sure that the water is purified. And she suggests that we not drink out of plastic. Number 7 on the list. This was a huge episode. So many downloads. Parenting expert Amy McCready from Positive Parenting Solutions, episode number 42. The topic: helping families set boundaries with technology. My takeaway from this episode that I think you can learn from: know when enough is enough with tech. Amy says she found the more time kids spend with video games or technology, they have short fuses. They are more lethargic. They have overall less energy. That is when it's time to act. I have seen this, and I'm sure that you have too, but it's starting the process of becoming aware of this and then cutting it off. Technology can be a babysitter. I know how much easier it is to let them play and let them watch because it means that we get peace and quiet. So here's what Amy said that hit home for me: set boundaries, stick to them. Tell your kids when the yucky stuff is done, you can enjoy your technology. When your homework is done, I've checked it, and you've done your family contributions. By the way, that's a great word she gives for chores. When you've done your family jobs, you can have 30 minutes or an hour, whatever you feel is appropriate in your family. But here's the other important thing. Give it a curfew. So if they mess around and they don't get their homework done, their family contributions done, well, then they're cutting into their own tech time and not asking for more time or staying up late. Good stuff. And again, that was episode number 42. Number 6 on the list, episode number 53, how to optimize hormone health. Do you ever feel like you've hit a slump and your metabolism seems to be changing and diet and exercise maybe isn't helping you like it used to? I have. Our bodies are so complex and ever changing. Pauline Cox explains how hormone health and blood sugar levels are part of the root causes of many imbalances in our bodies. Pauline translates complex science into simple, easy to follow steps to make health information accessible. My takeaway from this episode: avoid sugar when possible. It's so much of the problem in our world, and probably because we have become so accustomed to that taste, and it's in almost everything we eat. It's in simple things that don't need sugar. Also, she says, get your hormones tested. Balancing your estrogen and your progesterone are critical to your overall health. Your doctor can do these tests for you, so just be sure to ask. Also, get the family on board. You're trying to drop maybe a few pounds. Well, it's great for a balanced diet that your kids should be eating as well. Don't necessarily separate everything so that you're eating one thing and the rest of the family is eating another. Get everyone on board and get everyone healthy. Overall, hormone balance for you and hormone health is important. And without this balance, you're going to feel like crap. So do something about it. You're going to love this episode. She's so inspiring. And let's just continue to learn every day. On to number 5. We're halfway through the top episodes of 2022. Navigating the Nervous System and Trapped Trauma with Irene Lyon. This was episode 69. And I have to be honest, it blew me away how many downloads this episode got. It shows me how important this topic is to you and how many of you struggle with regulating your nervous system. In some ways, I think we've just hit the tip of the iceberg on learning about our nervous system. So many of the things we struggle with, they start in our nervous system. Trauma, for example, something you may think that you've dealt with from your childhood or early life. Well, it can get trapped and come out in ways you never imagined. It will hold you back and it will contribute to illnesses. I will say that the nervous system is so complex. If you don't know about these things or these complexities, you can help yourself. Even stress from the womb can cause problems for you later in life. My takeaway here: listen to this episode. Learn how to start regulating your nervous system. Slow down, listen to your body. And I mean, really listen. I love this episode because I feel like I learned so much, and it's hard to boil this all down into like 30 seconds or a minute for you here. So I hope you'll take the time to listen to it. It's episode number 69. As we move on to number 4 on the list, this is about nutrient deficiency. My expert guest was Dr. Cheryl Cam. Sometimes we go about our day, our week, our month, and we don't pay much attention to the totality of what we're putting into our bodies, right? We're just going about our business. I might try to eat a handful of spinach if I'm not feeling well and I know I need some iron. But why is that really important? Would you even know the signs of your nutrient deficiencies? Here they are: fatigue, burnout, stress, low immunity, which means you're going to get sick. And that's just to name a few. Maybe taking vitamins helps, but that's not necessarily the answer. A highlight from this conversation is the importance of understanding how common nutrient debt is, which frequently holds a mom back from thriving in their everyday life. Okay, number 3 on the list: the biggest safety issues parents need to be aware of when it comes to their teens. This was with Deputy David Gomez. Boy, this one got parents fired up. Some good, some not so good fired up, but my guest didn't mind that at all. Deputy Dave Gomez is a school resource officer. He gives very blunt advice to parents. He also has run multiple undercover social media accounts to arrest predators and track down missing kids in his jurisdiction. My takeaway from hearing stories about kids and social media and kids and technology from Deputy Gomez: if your kids are doing any type of technology, well, I'm sorry, parents, but you're going to have to do it too, or at least know what's going on. What is Snapchat? Are you involved in Snapchat? Are you checking their Snapchat? I know how much work it is. Believe me, I've got 3 kids. He told me in this episode about his school in Idaho. They banned cell phones. The kids in high school were not allowed to bring cell phones to school. I think they had to keep them in their backpacks, but they're not allowed to have them out at all. So he says they went from kids, even parents, being furious to actually some relief that kids didn't have to keep up with messages between classes. They didn't have to check their social media because you know what? Their friends weren't doing it, so they didn't feel the pressure to do it. They went from heads down in their phones in the hallways between classes to kids actually communicating and talking. The experiment was a success. This was episode 79, and Officer Gomez gave me a lot of valuable information on protecting our kids. Okay, we're almost to the top episode of the year. Coming in at number 2, guiding versus controlling our kids. Is there really a difference? This was with Dr. Siggie Cohen. We want our kids to be independent, right? We want them to make their own decisions, but there are some times in life when they have to do what we ask them to do. So, where is that balance? That's what I wanted to know. Dr. Siggie is known as the child whisperer for her unparalleled depth of insight in working with kids of all ages. For more than 35 years, in fact, she has worked with thousands of kids and families, first as a teacher, then as a professor and a counselor. Her method provides parents with practical tools to feel more empowered and less guilty. We all need that. We need to feel less guilty. My takeaways you can use from this episode: the power of words. Kids feel criticized when we tell them, don't do this, don't do that, stop that. But the message, in other words, like, I can tell you're really frustrated. Tell me about that. Many times kids push back out of just defense and feeling judged. I definitely see that, especially in teenagers. They don't want to feel judged. They're so concerned about what people think. And even though you might think they don't care what you think, they absolutely do. Also, take time to let your kids make mistakes. I gave Dr. Siggie an example of my son making breakfast, which usually I do, but I'm trying to step back and let him do for himself. If he's going to do it, I need to let him do it wrong and not stop him or correct him. Also, once again, the importance of boundaries came up in this episode. If your kids try to tell you they are tired of being controlled, you can answer back with, these are things that I understand better than you. I'm older, wiser, more experienced. I'm knowledgeable, and therefore I can tell you to do certain things that I know are right for you. I love having examples of words like that because it gives me something to say in those moments. So I practice those words so that I immediately have the words when I need them. Of course, all of this she gives in a very nurturing and loving tone. This was episode 66. Okay, are you ready? We're at the top downloaded episode of the podcast this year. It's another health topic, number 63. It is How to Eat to Beat Disease with Dr. William Leigh, episode number 63. Dr. Leigh is an internationally renowned physician. You've probably heard of him. He's also a scientist and author of New York Times bestseller called Eat to Beat Disease, the new science of how your body can heal itself. His groundbreaking work has led to the development of so many medical treatments and all kinds of things for diseases, including cancer, diabetes, blindness, heart disease, obesity. You can see why so many people, thousands, wanted to hear his take on this topic on the podcast. Food truly is medicine, just in case you wanted to know. So what do we need more of? Well, here's my quick takeaway from our conversation. Diet and lifestyle play a tremendous role in shaping how we feel and how healthy we are on the inside. Our gut microbiome is very important. It's important to our brain, our emotional health, to the inflammation in our bodies, our metabolism, our ability to heal, and our ability to resist cancer. That came up again, as it did in another episode I just told you about. Our gut is our health defense system. Did you know that? He also says keto diets aren't sustainable. They're not healthy. Dr. Leigh says they are desperate and difficult. Well, I've tried it, so I know that. Here's some things, according to Dr. Leigh, that you can do right now to improve your health. First of all, cut out soda. I'm sorry if you love your Coke or your Diet Coke, but he says, especially in not the diet sodas, each can has 10 teaspoons of refined sugar added to it. Just replace that with water. Make that change. Just try it. Also, he says, cut out processed foods. If it comes in a bag, a can, a box, cut it out. He also says dark chocolate. Okay, well, that one's okay. You don't have to cut that out. It's actually good for you, but make sure that it's at least 80% of that dark chocolate, one of my favorites. Also, he gave advice to use the Mediterranean diet, which is interesting because back in 2021, I had another doctor tell me the same thing. Doctors tell me this all the time. They approve of the Mediterranean diet. And I've created last year a free guide on what to buy if you want to try the Mediterranean diet. And I will give you a link to that download for free in the show notes. That might be something you want to try out in the new year. Also, Dr. Leigh says, eat fruit, eat lots of fruit and vegetables. Make that your priority before a whole lot of other foods. So if your focus has been on protein or carbs, change that and make your focus eating fruits and vegetables first as a majority of your food, and then add in those other things. Again, this is all from episode number 63 with Dr. William Leigh. So much helpful information. All right, friends, that wraps up the top 10 episodes and the countdown for 2022. What a year it has been. I am so very grateful to my guests and to all of you for listening. I hope these interviews and the solo episodes that I've given you as well this year have blessed you. Much more to come in 2023, including those changes that I told you about. I can't wait to share it with you. Until then, be well.